Hey everyone, this is going to be our final video here on the Chapter 12 practice test. And this last free response question number 2, is going to be about transformations or transformations to achieve linearity. So let's get started on this. We have a set of data was transformed using the square of the response variable. So when we have the square of the response variable against the explanatory variable, what we're looking at is x versus y squared. So then after we do that, we've transformed the data. We're going to do a linear regression. And then the analysis of the regression is shown below. Just like before, we're going to read through this chart, but we'll go a little faster this time. If you have questions on that, make sure you go backward to the free response question 1. I go into this chart very detailed. Over here, we've got the value of A. We've got the value of B over here. We've got the SEB, 25,000. Here we have the test statistic, 7.18, giving us a p-value for a two-tailed test of 0. Standard deviation of the residuals is 334,000, and r squared is equal to 0.838. All right, so that takes care of all of that. Part A says to give the equation of the least squares regression line. So we have the response variable squared is equal to negative 1,254,928 plus what is 186,660 multiplied by the explanatory variable. No real context given for this one, so we're not going to worry about that. Letter B, we're going to predict the response value for an explanatory variable of 9. So we're going to start off with that same equation we got from A. But now we substitute 9 for the explanatory variable. We'll put that equation into our calculator and then let her rip. That's 425,012, giving us that the response variable squared is equal to 425,012. And then to get the response variable, the inverse operation for that square is the square root. So the response variable is equal to the square root of 425,012, which is 651.9. That takes care of letter B. Let's take a look at letter C. Let's suppose that the response for the explanatory variable was actually 562. Let's calculate and interpret the residual for the explanatory variable. Any residual is equal to the actual minus a predicted value. We have an actual value of 562, and then we have a predicted response of 651. That just reminds me I need to change all of these to predicted response. That's better. And let's see what we get. Okay, negative 89.9. Use your calculator for that. So this means that the predicted was greater than the response, or the actual. So the predicted response is 89.9 units greater than the actual response. Okay, so the same data was transformed again using a square root of the response variable against that explanatory variable. Here's analysis of that regression over here. And we're going to again give the least squares regression line for this transformed variable. This time we're looking at the square root of the response variable against the explanatory variable. And so this is going to be x versus the square root of y. Maybe I should say y hat instead, x versus y hat. Okay, here are the values of A, right over here, 3.6, and here's the value of B, 2.11. This time we get the square root of the predicted response is going to be equal to 3.6 multiplied by 2.111 times the explanatory variable. And that is going to do it for us. This is the end of our Chapter 12 practice test. And good luck to all of you on the actual test, and we'll see you for AP review. AP review is next. Have a great one.